The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
El Salvador has made it clear Kilmar Ábrego García isn't coming back. The Salvadoran national who lived with his family in Maryland and had been granted protection from deportation by a US court in 2019 was mistakenly deported earlier this year. Now he's being held in one of the world's most notorious prisons, which is El Salvador's sprawling Center for Confinement of Terrorism or CCOT, despite a US Supreme Court ruling directing the Trump administration to facilitate his return. El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele delivered the news directly during a meeting at the White House on Monday with his US counterpart Donald Trump. Bukele, who has styled himself as a hardline leader on crime, reportedly told Trump that returning Abrego Garcia would be akin to smuggling a terrorist into the country.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you could release him inside El Salvador?
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
In the remarks after the meeting, Trump praised Bukele's cooperation in a new deportation deal under which the US can send alleged gang members to El Salvador. Trump said he's doing a fantastic job. He's putting away some very bad people that should never have been allowed into our country. Abrego Garcia's lawyer, however, insists he is not a gang member, a claim supported by the fact that he had legal protection against deportation since 2019. Nevertheless, he was swept up in a recent wave of mass deportations during which the Trump administration expelled 238 Venezuelans and 23 Salvadorans to CCOT, claiming they were linked to criminal organizations. Among them, US officials say are members of MS-13 and Venezuela's Tren de Aragua, both labeled foreign terrorist organizations by Trump. Abrego Garcia was one of those sent to the mega prison, which is notorious for its brutal conditions and has become a symbol of Bukele's war on gangs. When asked about the Supreme Court's ruling, US Attorney General Pam Bondi said the administration couldn't be compelled to retrieve Garcia, calling it up to El Salvador if they want to return him.
Answer that question.
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane. So will you return him?
And you are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, legal experts disagree. The court's decision requires the government to take active steps to facilitate the return, and US federal officials have been ordered to provide daily updates on what's being done. But in a filing on Sunday, government lawyers argued that the matter touches on foreign policy, which is an area, they say, lies outside the court's authority. Despite that stance, Trump told reporters last week, if the Supreme Court said bring somebody back, I would do that. But so far, no steps have been taken to secure Garcia's return. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio praised the deportation deal on social media platform X, calling the partnership with Bukele an example for security and prosperity in our hemisphere. Critics, however, worry that the mass deportations and the prison system they feed are undermining due process and criminalizing migrants without clear evidence. Families of some detainees at Seacot have publicly denied any gang affiliations. For now, Garcia remains behind bars in El Salvador, caught in a geopolitical standoff where immigration, law, and diplomacy collide, and where a Supreme Court order may not be enough to bring him home.